We're back for another episode of this week's All Facts No Cap. We got my girl again, Jamie Kelton. Jamie, go ahead and tell everybody hello.
Hello, everyone. We were just laughing our butts off about so many things. I'm excited
Yes.
tonight. It's late. We're both like a little slap happy. So this is going to be a good one.
You're right. It definitely is. So, man, let's hop right into it. We got Super Bowl week. Everybody knows that. Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go ahead and just ask you, what are your thoughts on the big game coming up?
Usually how I like to pick NFL games, Stan, is which side has more Alabama players, which
Oh, my
I
goodness.
am sure is a shock to everyone listening.
Oh, my goodness.
Everyone
Of
I know
course.
right now. So, based on that kind of stipulation that I've been running for the last, 15 years, I would pick the Eagles. And I'm very reticent to pick the Eagles. An ex of mine was a huge Eagles fan. I was actually at the Super Bowl when the Eagles won in Patriots gear, not in Eagles gear. We had broken up like 2 weeks before the game. Wild. But no, you know what? The Eagles are a much friendlier team to me this year because of how many Bama players are on there. But then here, like, it's so funny. And I'm such a sports girl and I'm very analytical about things. And I'm not one of the girls who's like, I pick this team based on colors and because this person likes it. But like, the guy I'm dating right now is a huge Giants fan and he hates Eagles. So I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place right now with relative to my emotions about this game. The facts and the analysis say otherwise. I think it's going to be really close. But that's also like why I didn't play fantasy football for so long, right? I know I'm going off on a complete random tangent right now, but I felt so loyal to one specific team that I'm like, how am I supposed to root for all these different guys and all these different teams? So as a woman emotionally inside, I'm kind of all over the place because I like both teams. I like a lot of guys on one side, but I love what the Chiefs are doing. I love Mahomes. I think the Kelsey brother narrative is just so much fun. Can't wait to see the 10th. It's going to be like everyone's favorite drinking game this year. Every time they show Jason and Travis's mom, like, take a drink, you'll be plastered by halftime. But no, I just did a little like ask me on Instagram about what do you think is going to happen in the game. And I'm literally got 50-50. Half of the audience thinks that the Eagles are going to try to keep the ball on the ground, run it to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. The other half think that Devontae is going to absolutely go off, have, over 100-yard game, be MVP. And I don't disagree with that. And that's not just because he went to Bama, but do you remember what he did to Ohio State in the national championship game?
Yes, I do.
Put that man on a huge stage. He had the exact same number of receiving yards as the whole Ohio State offense did for the whole first half of the game.
Well, you remember?
So he's gonna step up, and I think I think he's still gonna have a huge game. Would not be surprised at the MVP win there. So
I can't completely disagree with you because I think that when you got both these teams that are so evenly matched as far as where they're strong at, where versus where their weaknesses are, because of Philadelphia's run game, that's why I think that they really have a strong chance of winning this game. But to me, I feel like Devontae Smith, he's probably going to go ahead and have his plays. He's going to have some yards, things like that. But I think that Patrick Mahomes, that's going to be the overwhelming element. That's going to be the X factor for Kansas City. He's going to have 2 extra weeks to go ahead and try to heal from that high ankle sprain, even though he's not going to be 100% until he's all the way going to be able to rest it for, let's say, a month to a month and a half. But he's going to be much better than he was in the AFC title game as far as mobility versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And because of Pat Mahomes and his passing prowess, and because of that stringent upgrade that you're going to see as far as his passing ability versus Jalen Hurts, that's why I would go with Kansas City actually having the edge. Even though I know Philadelphia, they got a good defense, but dealing with a quarterback that's like the caliber of Pat Mahomes, when you look at how they played in the postseason so far against the San Francisco 49ers, who were down to their 4th-string quarterback, against the New York Giants, who apparently your new boo, that's who he roots for. So I don't think Philadelphia is ready for what they're about to see. I think it's still going to be a good game, but I would give it to Kansas City in the end.
Interesting. It's crazy because it really has seemed like this whole season has belonged to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I feel like they were almost anointed from, if not the beginning of this season, like 5 or 6 weeks in. We were like, this is it. Nobody else needs to show up. But the Chiefs now, are 12-1 in their last 13. So they're on a hot streak right now. It's just, it really is going to be, if I were betting this game, Stan, I'm not sure I would bet the spread. I would go for props and the over under all day long. Would not bet the spread here, or even the money line.
Yeah, I really feel like it could go either way. So that's why it's going to be hard for me to make a pick. But in both quarterbacks are from the state of Texas, so I can't even ride with the Texas guy. But I can rest soundly knowing that you're going to have a Super Bowl winning quarterback that is going to reside in the state of Texas, no matter what comes Sunday evening.
Love that. Okay, my Texas guy. We didn't talk about this before the call, but I have a burning question for you.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. As the respective number 2 and number 3 ranked college basketball teams, the Houston Cougars and the Alabama Crimson Tide, stand.
Oh, here we go.
No. How does a team lose a game and still stay ranked number 1?
Well, I mean, it just depends. And I know who you're talking about. It depends. I think when you look at those rankings, strength of schedule, probably style points, and also, do you actually see a team that you feel is better than the currently ranked number 1 team? That's why I think a lot of it goes into it. And because it's basketball, nobody, I think, other than Kentucky several years back, nobody finishes the regular season undefeated. So somebody, you're going to stub your toe. I don't care how good you are. So that's what I attribute that to, because I know what you're talking about and I know what you're asking. I would just go ahead and assume that's why they maintain their number 1 ranking even after losing.
Okay. And so my follow-up question is do you agree with that?
Because
and did you anticipate that?
I didn't anticipate that. No, I didn't. But also at the same time, because it's college basketball and it's not college football, where it's the college football playoff, only 4 teams are allowed to compete in the proverbial big dance or the small dance or whatever you want to call it, versus college basketball, where 69 teams or 68 teams now go to the big dance. So when you really break it all the way down, once March rolls around, the rankings don't really matter as far as the AP poll. Now the seeding in the big dance, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, and so forth, things like that, that can play a little bit of a part. But once you get to the big dance, all you got to do is make it there. And then those rankings with USA Today, the AP poll, they really don't much matter. So I understand what you're asking, but because it's just really a whole lot of chatter up until the big dance, I personally don't care. And I'll go ahead and say that my Cougs are going to go further than the Crimson Tide. I'll say that.
Okay, well, you guys have it here on record. Stan is happy being number 2. That was my takeaway from this conversation. All right, let's move on. You were in Las Vegas this past.
All right.
In Las Vegas this past weekend.
Yes.
And what happened there was nope.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just still trying to work it out in my head. No one really knows what happened this past weekend. I mean, the Pro Bowl games, Stan, I think were like the hottest mess express that I've seen since looking in the mirror Sunday morning, waking up after Alabama lost to Tennessee. What happened this weekend, and how has this come to this?
Oh, well, I can tell you exactly why it's come to this. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint a picture for you. So imagine this.
Let me, do you need a paintbrush?
So imagine this. Imagine that you start training in late February for the upcoming season. You are entering a contract year. So you want to play well, you want to earn a contract extension or a big time contract from another team. And that way you can now provide your family with generational wealth. You can go ahead and set your family up, everybody in your circle, things like that. So you now play a really good season. You get selected to go to the Pro Bowl. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to be an impending free agent, which means you'll either have to go and maybe your team can franchise you, which will pay you the average of the top 5 players, the top 5 salaries at your position in the entire league, or some other team is going to go ahead and throw a big time contract at you. And the only thing standing in your way now, because you've played well, made all pro, made Pro Bowl, all of that. The only thing standing in your way is that one game that really doesn't matter. It's really a celebration of the season you had. And all you got to do is just not get hurt. Well, this ain't baseball. This ain't basketball. This is a game that was designed to be violent. It was designed to be violent. So would you really want to put yourself at harm's risk, knowing what's on the other side of this game as soon as March rolls around when free agency opens up? Would you want to do that? I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me? No, the next time I put on a pair of pads and line up across from somebody, Stan will be the first time. But I can imagine that no.
So
no, I wouldn't want to do that.
So that right there in itself is why a lot of guys don't want to really play in the Pro Bowl. They don't want to go through the rigors. Why has
it taken so long for us to change it up?
I think because the NFL was always trying to figure out, okay, well, if we don't have a game, what the hell else do we do? And what you saw this past weekend was the solution, or I use that term loosely. That was the solution that they came up with, because if we're not going to have a game, well, football is still king in America. That's what everybody loves. That's like the national pastime. So if we're not going to have a game, we damn sure better have something that is going to be entertaining, something that is going to be engaging, something that is still going to entice people to tune in, whether it's actually going to the game, whether it is tuning in on TV or anything like that. So that's what you saw this past weekend. But as far as the guys simply wanting it to be a flag football game, even before this year, that's why, because why do I want to go into my off season banged up, bruised up, high ankle sprain, separated shoulder, torn ACL, torn labrum, possibly a bruised sternum, things like that? Why do I want to go into the offseason after having a great year and I got to spend my offseason rehabbing rather than enjoying the fruits of my labor? So that's the result of what everything has just transpired, everything I just said.
Do you think it was exciting, engaging, and made people want to tune in?
Oh, man, listen, I got a lot of homeboys that were playing in the Pro Bowl this weekend, and so I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I think they would probably agree that it's nowhere near as enticing, engaging, just all the way as fun as an actual game. But for a professional athlete, you don't want to put your body on the line just for no reason at all when you could possibly lose a lot from it. So I understand both sides of it, but to answer your question, it was just kind of
Okay. What would you like to see if you were to make any changes?
I don't really think there's any changes that you really can make that will actually be beneficial for both sides, because the fans want to see football. That's what the fans want to see. Right. But the players, why do they want to play in a meaningless game? Because even though this game doesn't mean anything, when that running back comes through the hole and that Mike linebacker puts his helmet right there in his sternum or right there on that hip bone, your body doesn't know that that hit that you just endured didn't mean anything. Your body doesn't know that. Your body is still going to absorb that car crash. And that's for a lot of players. They don't want to deal with that. So they are not about to go out there full speed, put their bodies on the line, all for a meaningless game that the fans want to see. But at the same time, we all know it's a business. It's driven by revenue. So you want to keep the sponsors happy. You want to keep the fans happy. So it's going to be very difficult to please both evils. And that's why when you ask that question, I don't really know of a way to upgrade, improve, some sort of a solution that's going to please both sides. I really don't.
I love it. Thoughtful and passionate. just like you. I love it.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, well,
you got another question?
No, that's it. I got another question.
Now here we go.
You laid it out for me
So
in,
here we
in black and white. I loved it. I loved it.
Hey, you learn something new every day.
Yep, sure do. All right. So we were thinking about other things to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this post that just gave me a little bit of a midday outrage,
Man.
if you will. Don't you love it when that happens? And it was 24/7 Sports and Media Company. Everybody follows it, right? They have 500,000, I think,
Mm-hmm.
at least Instagram followers. And everyone loves / hates a way too early, bold prediction, a year before the season starts, right? It's kind of so silly, but that's what keeps us talking. So
Yes.
24/7 Sports gave us 10 way too early bold predictions for the 2023 college football season. And I think we should talk about some of them. What do you
Let's
think?
go ahead. Hop right into it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go to you first. So their first bold prediction is Wisconsin is next season's Tennessee.
Uh
Is this true or is this false? Let's go with a true and false, and then
I would
any reasoning.
I would say false.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Just because, for one, in the Big Ten, you still have that school called Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw what Michigan did to Ohio State, how they were in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. And with Luke Fickell coming from Cincinnati, who's done a fantastic job there. And I think he's going to do good things at Wisconsin as well. But as far as him catapulting Wisconsin to number one in the country, like how Tennessee was for that brief time, I don't see that happening.
For 5 days.
Yeah, I still think Ohio State and Michigan are still the cream of the crop in the Big Ten. I just don't see that happening next year. No, I don't.
Yeah, I agree. In 2022, Wisconsin's recruiting class was ranked 44th.
Yeah.
This year's recruiting class was ranked 58th. Not even in the top 50, which is wild. And I know that that's not really a huge product of Luke Fickell's efforts, but just because Tennessee went 7-6 in their first year with Josh Heupel doesn't mean that that's going to happen for Luke Fickell. Like you said,
no, it doesn't.
He's a tremendous coach. I think they're going to be in the conversation, but do I think that they're going to make the run that Tennessee did last year? Not so much. I also don't like a superstar on their roster. They don't have a Hendon Hooker that's going to kind of just for them. So we'll see. And it doesn't really set them up great for the next couple of years with those below par recruiting classes.
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry, Badgers. Better luck in 5 years. I don't know. Okay. Next one. Ooh. We talked about this guy a couple weeks ago. Cade Klubnik. That's a fun name to say. Your boy.
Austin, Texas, Westlake High.
All right. For those who don't know, Cade Klubnik is going to be the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers this year. So Cade Klubnik, not Jordan Travis, the Florida State University quarterback, is going to be ACC's top player. What say you, Stanley?
Oh, man. I think that it still might be a little bit too early to go ahead and anoint him like that. But given that he was the Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of Austin Westlake, the amount of state titles, and just him being more of that pocket passer that we all know Dabo Swinney loves, almost kind of like a Trevor Lawrence, that's why I think he's got a very good chance to be the top player in the ACC. But I still feel 2023 might be a little bit too soon for that to happen.
Okay. I feel similarly. I think Clemson is going to be better in 2023 than they were in 2022. They're going to fly under the radar this year because no one's expecting a lot from them. And isn't it so funny? Always when that happens, Dabo Swinney is always bitching so hard. And that's why Alabama fans don't want him as our next head coach, because he is always complaining about something. The fans aren't here. No, it's too hot. I don't know, whatever. The pizza didn't come fast enough, right? He always has pizza parties. So FSU is decidedly the top team in the ACC heading into the 2023. But I don't know. I think Cade might make a huge resurgence this year, but it's not going to be until towards the end of the season until people getting really excited about him, then they're going to look back and be like, oh my God, wait, Clemson has been winning by, a decided margin. They've actually put together all these strong numbers, but no one's going to realize it until the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think in 2024, they'll probably beat the Crimson Tide in the college football playoff semifinal. Yeah, so going on to the next topic.
Wow, do you drink some haterade real quick? I gotta keep it here when I come chat with you, Okay. All right. We're talking about all the X's tonight. Next topic, UNC, University of North Carolina, finishes 6-6 as they are currently now a preseason top 25 team. I am here for this hot take, actually.
Of course you are.
My ex went to UNC, played football there. So I was rooting for UNC. I was rooting for them. This season, I could not believe how UNC ended this season with those 4 losses in a row. That was so disappointing. Before that ACC championship game, Stan.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
They were 7 points away from it beating, if they would have beat Clemson in the ACC championship, getting into the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. What a season they put together. I mean, in 3 of those points, it was almost like Bama seasons too, right? 3 of those points were a double OT loss. Right. And then that Georgia Tech game, they had one, but Downs dropped that ball right in the end zone. They had the touchdown. He caught it and then was just like, I just dropped it. It was painful. It was painful. I felt so bad. But they're losing him. Drake May's #1 top wide receiver to the NFL. Grimes, their top cornerback, transferred. So it's going to be interesting to see who Drake May is going to have as his top weapon this year. It's got to be somebody. Somebody's got to step up for that. Their schedule is not great, but it's not horrible. They do play Clemson. They don't have to play Florida State, but their away games are brutal. Their toughest games this year are on the road. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's going to be 6-6, might be 7-5, but I don't know if we're going to be going into the home stretch at the end of the season in the same position that they were in 2022.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that they're going to be the class of the ACC. I think that's going to be Clemson, obviously. And then Florida State, they're going to have something to say about that at the very end. But yeah, to your point, I don't think UNC is going to be making any noise. I think May, he's already got his sights on the NFL. He's already on draft boards with people talking about him. So obviously he's going to be good.
Though. He's still got 2 more years.
Exactly. So I think to me, you're going to still see good play out of the Tar Heels, but I don't think that it's going to be anything special going into the 2023 year.
Okay. Do you like 6-6 for them? Or do you think
I think that it's going to be somewhere in that area, maybe 7-5, maybe somehow, some way 8-4. They may go ahead and get a few victories that somehow, some way people just didn't expect to happen. But I don't see them really surprising anybody this year. No.
Yeah, like they did last year. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to watch. All right. Next hot take, which is not a hot take at all. 24/7 Sports. Can you do a little bit better? Coach Prime's first season surprises all. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of a hot take is that. That's more like a lukewarm top water take. Mm-hmm. That's not a take. That's not a take. Like, you don't get to sit on the fence here. Like, is it surprise is good, surprise is bad? I don't know. Here's what I think about Coach Prime. I do not think he's a super loyal guy. I think he's got 2 to 3 years tops at Colorado. He is making a big show about them right now, wearing his Colorado gear on national championship and here and there and the sunglasses and all the deal. But I think he is going to have some success there. I don't know if he's going to go 10-2 this year. I don't know. Maybe lucky if he has an 8-4 year. I think he will in the next year or 2 after that, but then he's out for a bigger name school. This is not going to be where he hangs his hat. Do I think he's going to have success? Sure. But it's not going to last for long, Colorado buffs. So don't get too excited, you guys.
Oh man, I think that I think he's going to have success there. I'm not sure if it's going to be in year one. They went, what was it, 1-10 or 1-11 last season. So he's definitely got a lot of work to do, has a lot of work cut out for him. But we see that they had a very good National Signing Day just last week. So that's why it gives a lot of optimism up there in Boulder, Colorado. So I think you're going to definitely see improvement. Now, are you going to see the same type of season that my man Lincoln Riley had in USC his first year? Not sure on that, but I definitely think that you're going to see Colorado better than they were last year. I think they're going to have more athleticism on the football field, but as far as them cracking into the top 25, as far as them reaching 9 to 10 wins or more than that, I think that's probably a stretch to say.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if they get down in these close games in the end, if they're down by a field goal, if they have to put together a game-winning drive with his energy and with that kind of je ne sais quoi that he has. What is that going to look like?
Oh man, listen.
That's gonna be really exciting to see.
Listen, Deion Sanders is one of my all-time favorites. He's one of my idols, and I remember having the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times and even coaching against him in high school several years back. So what you're talking about, that's swag right there. What he brings to the football field,
swag to the max.
And I can tell you as a coach, that permeates throughout your team. And you can even see it when he was at Jack State. And it's it's starting to happen right now with Colorado, with the Buffs. So that right there, I think in late games, just his cool confidence, I do think that that's going to rub off on the players.
I can't wait to see it. That'll be exciting. I thought he was, and this is a perfect segue. I was terrified he was going to go to Auburn, to be honest. I think that
because then they would be the best team in Alabama.
Would be all right. They'd
be the best team in the state of Alabama. They would be.
Yeah, of course, because they've completely proven themselves. And the first-year head coach, definitely best football team in the state of Alabama. Yeah, 100%. Definitely not the team with the coach that's won 6 national championships. Yeah, no, definitely. That's
haven't won one in how many years?
Completely.
Because Georgia has been
two.
Kirby Smart.
In the last, oh no, we haven't won a national championship in 2 years.
What are the prospects of winning one going forward in the near future?
Stan, when's the last time Auburn won a national championship?
I believe it was the 2010 season. They had Cam Newton and they ran over you guys. You guys.
I majored in dance. They only taught me to count to 8. But is 2 less than 13?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
it definitely is. Listen, Alabama is a storied program. Paul Bear Bryant, we all know the history. We all know that. I'm just simply saying right now, if Prime went to Auburn, they'd probably be the best school in Alabama. But we all know that Georgia is easily the best school in the country, but definitely in the SEC.
They definitely are, because they won the national championship this year. So there's really no arguing that. And
they'll probably win it next year and the year after. They'll probably win it next year and the year after. And they'll probably do it with like 3 starting quarterbacks in the entire season.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So quit reading ahead in the script. Good Lord. All right. Hugh Freeze. What a little drama slob kebab he is. All right. So they say Hugh Freeze is gonna be SEC Coach of the Year. He's gonna get SEC Coach of the Year attention. What do you think about this?
I think that obviously Nick Saban is the best coach in college football. I think we all can agree on that. He's the best coach in the SEC. I think we can agree on that as well. And because of that, when you even look at the NFL, oftentimes the coach of the year candidates are more of the guys that are doing more with less, or the guys who are simply exceeding expectations coming into the season. So that's why I think that there's a good chance that may be true and that he will receive coach of the year attention.
Okay, so you think Auburn is going to make that huge of a stride from 2022 to 2023 that it's just going to be?
Well, let me ask you this. What was Auburn's record last year?
not very. I know they didn't even go to a bowl game.
Exactly. They fired their coach.
Yep.
So just off of that alone shows that the organization, shows that the program is not doing well. So
Right.
all you have to do as an incoming coach is
Mhm.
just show some sort of promise and
Right.
show some sort of marginal improvement. And that in itself right there is going to put you in that running. You know, when you look at how this past season in the NFL, I forget who are the candidates going to be for the coach of the year that's going to be announced at the NFL honors in a couple of days. But Nick Sirianni isn't one of them. Neither is my man Andy Reid.
Right.
So it's always going to be more of the coach who's doing more with less, not necessarily the coach for the best team.
I completely agree with you. No argument here. No. And Hugh Freeze is a tremendous coach. And I think that gets lost on so many people because of, the drama and the scandal that has followed him. So yeah, the unfortunate thing about Auburn, right, as a non-biased Alabama fan, is they always have the ability to be resuscitated. And can Hugh Freeze resuscitate them? Yes. Can Hugh Freeze stay out of trouble? I guess we'll find out. He literally has it written into his contract that like you cannot be on Twitter. Like that's how bad it is, where you can't be on social media just to keep your ass out of trouble so that you can have a successful football season. And it's unfortunate for him that that's happened. But the last 3 years, Auburn's recruiting classes, Stan, have been 19, 21, and 17. Yeah. And I think, and I completely agree with your points about, the criteria on what you need to be anointed the SEC Coach of the Year, doing more with less. But does that happen? Do you get that tap on the shoulder if you don't beat Georgia, if you don't beat Alabama, if you don't beat your biggest rivals, if you don't beat LSU, right? Hot take though, Jamie Kelton hot take, Hugh Freeze beats Brian Kelly. Okay, next. But if you don't beat those two big rivals, if you get blown out by them, does that happen? And I think in order to do that, you need to have like that star. It's probably needs to be a quarterback. Does Auburn have that right now? I don't
think so either.
So I don't know if not beating even if they do have a blowout year, right? And they beat everybody but Alabama and Georgia, it might, because the stride that they made from not even being bowl eligible to going, let's say at best 10-2, it's not going to happen, but could be, because that gap was so big. But that's still, Auburn fans aren't going to be happy.
No, they're not going to be happy.
They're not going to be happy. And I really think they need to have, like you mentioned, that Cam Newton, that star in order to take down Alabama and Georgia where they are right now.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to need
and I don't think they have that coming with those recruiting classes that they've had for the last 3 years.
No, I can't say they do. I can't say they will.
Which makes them the second best team in the state.
Oh, okay.
Moving on.
I'll let you have that.
All right. Next, the University of Texas Longhorns. That was so weird. I like malfunctioned. Plays for a college football playoff berth in the Big 12 title game.
Okay. Now, UT is they got a top-notch 5-star recruit coming in from Orlando, Florida, the running back. I forget his name, but he's really, really good. You got the Manning grandson who's going to be in. You have the starting quarterback right now from South Lake Carroll who transferred from Ohio State, now running the helm. Exactly. So you have the pieces for what a lot of people assume can be that type of a year. I think for Steve Sarkisian, he's going to have them playing at that high of a level to go ahead and make sure that he keeps tempers at a minimum, because I can tell you the fan base, I can tell you the boosters, the alumni, they are like no other. And whenever UT is not doing well, they are making calls every day to the AD, calling for the coach's head on a stick. So for Steve Sarkisian's sake, that's what UT needs to be playing at that level late in the season. I'm not sure that that's going to happen because I think the Big 12 is going to have something to say about that. But for his sake, I hope that they are playing at that high of level and having 2 straight years of having the number one quarterback signed to your team, signed to your school, and you do not produce a top 10 appearance. You do not produce at least a close college football playoff appearance, something like that. I do think that times are going to get real tough for him as far as what the fan base, the boosters, the alumni, pretty much the people who sign his checks. Right. I do think it's going to be very difficult for him going forward if he's not able to get those high rankings and possibly, like you just said, competing for that CFP.
Sark's seat is going to get real hot this year. This is his fourth year? Fourth year?
I think either third or fourth.
I think something tells me it's his fourth year. Everyone wants Texas to be back. Every year we hear the same thing. Texas is back.
I mean, it's
Texas
the best state in the country.
But they're not back. They're still not.
Everyone they're not. No doubt about it. They're not.
I want Texas to be back. I think that's good for college football, right? I said the last 2 years, I'm ready for Tennessee to be good again, and look where that got me. But
UT almost beat Alabama week 2.
I was talking about Tennessee. Yeah, almost doesn't count though. Stan, my dad always told me growing up, he played golf, and he's from Texas too. So here's
shout out Lone Star State.
He's a Red Raider though, and he says, there's no room in the box, that little tee box for just how many. So there you go. That's what I have to say to your.
Oh my God.
They almost beat us. Yeah. Everyone wants Texas to be back. They're not going to be back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think that they're going to be in contention for the college football playoff this year.
No, I don't either.
Like you said, I think Sark is safe if they land in a New Year's Six bowl. Anything below that, it's going to be tough.
I agree.
He's had enough time there. All right. Okay. Everyone's other favorite team to put on a pedestal, and they fall from grace every year. Notre Dame. All right. 24/7 Sports says Notre Dame will fall out of the preseason top 10 by midseason. Doesn't this happen every year?
Every year.
What kind of a hot take is this? This is like the most ice cold take I've ever heard because this happens every year. This is not a bold prediction for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's not a bold prediction. Because Notre Dame, because they're an independent, they're not tied, they're not tethered to a specific conference, and they always have that out of conference schedule. The thing about Notre Dame is that they're a big brand. So they're much like University of Texas. They're much like the Florida States, the USCs of the world, where apparently whenever they're good, college football is better whenever they're playing good, whatever the hell that means. And every year, because of the dearth in athleticism, and it always shows up when they play schools from the SEC. Whenever they play schools that got a lot of team speed, they are always exposed, and usually that happens right around midseason. So I'm right there with you on that. That's not a hot take. That's been happening for I don't know how many years. That's why Brian Kelly left to go all the way down to the Bayou, because he was going to be able to get a better grade of talent to put on that football field.
What happened with their offensive coordinator?
Listen. Like
he's gone too. So.
Yes, and that's why, to me, I think that when you look at Notre Dame, obviously they're a big brand. We know that. There's no doubt about that. But I do not see them making any noise, and I think that they're going to go ahead and once again fall out of that top 10 because everybody's then going to see that they're grossly overrated.
Yeah, I feel like they always beat like a random either Big Ten or ACC school in the beginning of the season, but right at the end of the game by like a last second field goal or like a turnover or something like drastic happens. They win 3 or 6 points right at the end.
Fall for that fool's goal.
Oh my God, they beat this team. And then they play these just like not pansies, but just kind of like very middle of the road team. And like you said, then they run in to that one tough team that maybe is they're having the year and making a surgeons through the season, and then it's over. So, or they do sneak by the skin of their teeth that game too, and they make it to the playoff, and then they just get completely annihilated. So, um,
rinse, repeat, new season.
yeah, I would be okay to vote on excluding Notre Dame, even though we only have, what is it, 1 more year, 2 more years?
Yeah.
Of
Mm-hmm.
the 4 team?
Yep. Then we go to what, 12?
12? Yeah, but it's one. No. We have 23, 24, and it starts in 25. So two more 4 years. Yeah, I would petition for Notre Dame to not be allowed into the 4 just because they've screwed it up so much in the past.
Yeah,
It's
they go every year and wet the bed.
Yeah, it's like that ex-boyfriend that keeps coming back. It's like, no, you screwed up too many times. Like, you have lost your turn. So you only get so many tries.
Okay. Okay, yeah. We got to go to the next. Go to the next. Next bowl prediction.
Okay. Last one, and then we can talk about some dating drama. Okay. You brought this up earlier. Georgia starts 3 different quarterbacks, and wow, I have never seen 3 whiter looking guys ever in my life. And they still finish 12-0. I don't care how many quarterbacks they start. Stan, this schedule is pathetic.
I mean, that's what it should be. They're champions.
Okay, these rules you make, it's literally giving me.
They're champions.
No, they are 100%. But no one says that when Alabama wins, and may or may not have a couple easy teams for their SEC East.
You play the teams on your schedule. You beat the teams on your schedule.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't disagree with you.
But
I'm just saying that they're going 12-0 because the talent is going to be that superior. They're going to have a complete cluster at quarterback, but they're still going to win because these teams are like JV teams.
Well,
okay?
The 49ers were down to their 3rd string quarterback in the NFC title game. So just because you're going through a myriad of quarterbacks and still winning doesn't mean that you're going against JV teams, because would you count the NFL as JV teams? No, I don't think you would. And that's why you got to go ahead and hand it to the Bulldogs. They're the best team in college football. They're the best team definitely in the SEC.
You're literally not, like, that has nothing to do with the points that we're making right now. Like absolutely completely off topic and unrelated. So, all right, first 2 games, UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina. You might win by, double digits versus triple digits in that game. Then the powerhouse, the UAB Blazers. Okay. The Auburn Tigers,
SEC school conference game.
Might be, yeah. Congrats. You get to play an SEC conference game. Kentucky, Vandy, Florida.
Yeah, that's a gimme. Gimme.
Yep. Missouri.
Gimme.
Ole Miss.
Gimme.
Yep. At Tennessee. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. And then Georgia Tech. And here's
which could very well be a tough game for them.
When's the last time the Georgia Tech game was a tough game?
Because Georgia Tech and
when Georgia Tech was in the SEC.
Like with the style of play and that late in the season, I remember just watching them the last game of the season, the regular season, just not too long ago, and obviously wound up being a blowout. But early on, you could see Georgia Tech was giving them a little bit of fits, and I'm just simply saying, we know any given Saturday, you go into somebody else's stadium, you don't have your chin strap buckled, and they have the type of an offensive game plan that you're not ready for. And we know how Georgia Tech plays the game. It is something that you can look up at halftime and realize you're in a dogfight and you thought that you were going to be up by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's not an unreasonable point, but that's not going to happen.
And it probably won't. I'm saying
I feel like that. I think it's funny that that's the point that you're trying to hang your hat on about.
I'm just simply saying, listen, Georgia's going to they're going to run the table. They're going to run the table. They'll probably do it with 4 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But answer this. Is Georgia going to have an automatic bid into the college football playoff? Basically, what I'm asking is, are they gonna receive a bye for the SEC title game?
What do you? Oh, it doesn't matter whether they win or they lose.
No, I'm asking, are they literally gonna not have to play the SEC title game? Like, are they gonna be able to just skip it? No, they're gonna have to play the SEC title game.
Okay.
And
I was actually trying to actually like make that.
And they're gonna be playing a good team. So they're still going to have to beat good teams to get to where they're trying to get back to. Is all I'm simply saying. The schedule, yeah, I get it, cupcake, but they're still going to have to win certain games. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that.
Okay. All right. So you brought up a certain scenario to me about a week or so ago.
Yep.
And this is something that obviously you feel passionate about this. And this stems around social media.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a relationship, how should you conduct yourself? And this is, come on now, it starts with us men. So liking a girl's pictures, following a female, is that something that is toxic? Is that something that's right? Is it wrong? Is it indifferent? I'll go ahead and let you open up with it.
Yeah, so I think that if you, and this was the situation, right? It's within the context, the confines of if you started dating someone new, but you both have expressed interest, that you see it going perhaps somewhere serious, you have intentions to only date each other, right? And you're still on social media, just tapping and throwing out these likes, like they're, just, you get a car and you get a car and you get a like, and you get a follow. And, these girls don't look like Granny Smith. Is that appropriate? And I think there's two sides to this.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm glad you said that. Go ahead.
Okay. No, the one side is we look at it, it's like, oh my God, but it's just a like, it's just a follow. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I love you. Like, I'm the one, I'm taking you on trips. I'm spending money on dinners with you. We're together. We're having sex. We're this, we're that, blah, 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 right? So there's that. And I don't disagree that, yeah, it is just a like. Is it super meaningful? Not really. However, you have to ask yourself, and this is where girls' minds go. It's like, why are you going on a girl's profile and liking 5 of her pictures? And why are you following her? You do that to get someone's attention. You don't do that just for fun, just at whatever. Hello, hi, it's me. I'm telling you, when guys come on my profile and like 10 of my pictures, why do you think they like 10 of my pictures from like 3 years ago? So that I see your name like 10 times and I notice
3 years ago.
What? I don't post on my grid that much. What?
No, trust me, I get it. I hear everything you say now.
So you want me to notice you so that when you DM me, or if you start a conversation or you don't, or you want me to like go and check you out and like message you, right? You want to be noticed. So, and if not, then what is the intention behind doing that? And I would love to hear from you, like, why you feel like charity cases. I need to give this Instagram model likes because her 50,000 followers don't do it enough. Like, what is the thought process behind this, especially if so from to on the guy's side, right? What's the thought intention behind it? But then also on the girl side, right? We said like there's two sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is the girl tracking this? So let's unpack the guy's side first, and then let's talk about the girl side.
Well, for one, I think that you have to know who you're dealing with. And when I say that, if you're dating somebody, you obviously know how they conduct themselves. If it's somebody you just met last week, okay, you know what? You probably haven't gotten to know them just yet. But if it's somebody that you've been around for, let's say, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And y'all have already exchanged Instagrams where y'all follow each other. Whenever they post a picture, you put heart eyes or, fire emojis or whatever. You know how they conduct themselves on social media. So you already know that they're the type to, what you say, you get a like, throw out the likes like they're candy. You already know that they're that type of person. So if you know that that's something that you deem as a red flag, like you said, a lot of people, they put connection over alignment. Y'all probably aren't aligned, which means you probably need to go ahead and just kick them to the curb right now rather than wait to a later date. Now,
okay, so are you saying that everyone who does that you are not aligned because they are already like ill-intentioned and don't see you as someone that they...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but if you're somebody that automatically you deem that as a red flag and they're doing that, then already off the rip, y'all aren't aligned. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how there's different sides and multiple sides to this very topic that we're discussing. And I'll say this. Now, listen, liking 10 photos or, from 3 years ago, yeah, that right there, yeah, somebody's trying to get your attention. But if it's just like a couple, then that could just simply be innocent. Doesn't mean that it automatically is. I'm not saying that.
Why would you do that? Like, why do you do that?
Because this is why, for the same reason that a man can come across another man's page and see, oh man, like his shoes. Let me go ahead and like that. Man, I like his outfit. Like he dripping. Because well, wait a minute. So this, and here we go. So why is the nuance automatic that if it's a man liking another man? Because trust me, I have men that like my pictures. I have men that follow me. So why is it automatically doesn't mean anything and it's completely innocent? But if it happens to be the fairer sex, it's automatic guilty. That's all I'm basically saying. I'm not saying that there's not times where exactly what you're alluding to is the exact case. I'm saying, how do you know that every instant or every instance is always going to be the guilty verdict? That's my point.
Well, I don't, and that's why we're having this discussion. And I don't mean like past girls and people you may or may not know, like from the past. I'm talking about brand new people.
Okay.
You are following and this didn't happen to me. This is just something I'm chattering about with my friends. Even a couple of the Barstool girls were talking about this today.
Yeah.
And they were saying it's kind of like a slap in the face to the new girl that you're dating. One girl was arguing, well, he's liking it, so he's not hiding anything. Right. It's fine. He's putting it out there so everyone can see it. And the other girl was saying, well, it's kind of a slap in the face because why is so-and-so's man liking that for everybody to see?
Okay, so I'll hit you with this.
Hit me.
So right now, you said you're dating somebody, or just hypothetically.
Yeah.
So if a woman is dating a man, she should not follow anyone new. She should not follow anybody new that's from the male species, or like any picture from a new follower, a new person she's now following. She should not like anybody, or she should not follow anybody new from the male species. Is that the correlation that I'm gathering from you?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So then
I think that's a little extreme.
Okay.
But I'm saying that if you're following like hot half naked girls on Instagram and going and liking all their 5 of their photos on each page while you're trying to do that, like what?
Okay. Now, so I just so I can go ahead and get a barometer to what you're saying all the way. So here we go. Yeah. If he was following and liking pictures of women that are not deemed attractive, let's just say that, is it as much of a violation as it is with the Instagram models or the ones you said are hot, half naked? What you just described, is it the same level of violation?
I mean,
crickets.
No, hold on.
Crickets. Crickets.
I'm trying to make this make sense in my head. Relax with
Mm.
the sex, okay? Um, it well, how unattractive is she? I mean, if she's really unattractive.
But there we go. So it's nuanced. So it's more so based on if the woman's deemed attractive, that's what makes it a violation, not the fact that you're liking a female's picture.
Right, but like let's be honest, men are visual creatures, right? Like we're
Yeah.
so, you know, if he's like an ugly girl's pictures, which is, let's be honest, he's probably not. Like, what is this fantasy situation you're making up? Like, oh, he's liking these ugly girls' pictures. That's not a thing.
Okay, but what if one of them he simply now she works it now at his company and they're coworkers. So now he decided to go ahead and follow her because
That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about.
but my point what I'm trying to make is all I'm simply saying is it the same level of violation if the female is not deemed attractive or she's not half naked or she does not give off that energy that would make somebody think, okay, anybody who follows her, anybody who likes her page must mean that they're attracted to her physically.
No, it is not. It is not that big of a violation. It is not the same extreme of a violation.
So I'm asking you, why is the looks of the female, why does that tip the scale so much?
Well, that's a silly question. Like what? Because she's not a threat if she's not attractive. I know you're not going after the unattractive girls.
Okay. Now here we go. I like the word you just used. She's not a threat. So really, basically what you're saying.
It's not, hold on. It's not a threat. I take that back. I mean that like in like a loose theory.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't raise an eyebrow because a threat makes it about me. It's not about me. This is about him.
So,
okay. So it's not a threat about me. It raises an eyebrow about like, what are you doing?
So
does that differentiation make sense?
Oh no, it does. Makes perfect sense. So if she's not attractive, then that means he in no way could be attracted to her. And I say that because men have different types. Men have all kinds of different fetishes. So there may be a female that is not deemed attractive that he still may like. So that's why I simply say placing the looks barometer on it as far as whether it's a violation or it's a minor violation or it's really a red flag. That's why to me, that window can get very foggy and it can get real murky and arbitrary if that's the filter that's being used to screen this. That's all I'm simply saying.
Well, I think you would agree that men also have brands of women that they're attracted to. All right. So we can make it a little bit more compartmentalized than just attractiveness, which, like you said, does have a lot of nuance and a lot of like fluidity to it. Right. Is she a 1 or is she a 0? Right. This is like the binary scale here. Okay. So let's pretend that all of these girls are 1s. And obviously it doesn't like matter if it's like the friend's wife, right, that like just had a baby and you're like, and your picture is great. Yes, please like her pictures, right? That's not what we're talking about here. Anyway, I think that there's, people say like, you can have your cake and eat it too. I think doing this is, you haven't baked the cake yet, but you bought the frosting.
Good analogy.
Okay.
I hear you loud and clear.
You haven't put all the ingredients together yet, right? We haven't mixed the flour and the eggs and the milk and the cake.
And then have the egg beater.
But we went to the store. We had the idea. We went to the store and we invested in some funfetti frosting. And that is what that is to me.
Okay. So then I'll throw this back at you. So does the same requirement, does the same mandate, does that exist for the woman?
It sure can. I don't think that it happens as frequently. I don't think that women prospect on Instagram like men do. Oh,
Now,
hey,
listen.
listen, good for you. Good for you. I love that for you. But
No, I'm not talking about for me, but I'm saying I know of situations where women prospected men like on Instagram. I know that for a fact. I've heard of those situations.
okay. All right. Actually I do too. I have a girlfriend who's very,
Exactly. Uh-huh.
yeah. But hold on. But let me differentiate here. I think men, even when they go out at the beginning of an evening, it's about quantity, not quality. I think if women are going to prospect on Instagram, it's going to be very targeted. They know exactly who they're going after, and it's almost like a laser focus.
Yeah, I get it. I
You
get
don't
it.
start going out just DM, like.
No,
It's
of course not.
it's a quality over quantity. Um,
Okay. And you're right about that.
that's the difference.
So here we go. Let's say a woman is dating a man. Okay. And obviously she doesn't want him following and liking pictures.
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden he looks up, he sees that the woman is now following, let's say, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron
Mhm.
James, Cristiano Ronaldo,
Mhm.
Messi, whatever, Denzel Washington, whatever.
Okay.
Is he in his right to feel justified with his annoyance of her following those guys or liking their pictures? Let's say Michael B. Jordan, he's coming out in Creed 3 real soon. If
Uh-huh.
she was to like his pictures, is she violating anything?
So I think another differentiation is those guys are the reality that you're going to meet them and actually
You
have a
live in New York City. That's
relationship.
it's possible, definitely. Or
Okay.
Los Angeles. If you live in those big hub type of cities, it's possible. Let's just go ahead and just say that.
Sure, I guess it is. But again, the probability that it's those A+ list sports or movie
Mm-hmm.
star celebrities meeting them is going to be a lot smaller than if it's, someone who might have Instagram clout, might be in entertainment
Mm-hmm.
to a relative scale. But they're a little bit more like tangible. There's more of a chance that
I get it.
you can meet them. So am I really nervous about you going and meeting like Emma Roberts and this one and this one and that one and Candace Swanpole and all the models? Not so much, right? And it depends on the guy too,
Yeah.
right?
And so all I'm saying is like this. And trust me, I've had this type
I
of
feel like we've gotten nowhere.
and I'm just gonna say this. I've had this convo like with several different women, and anytime I always bring it back to them as far as liking pictures of, and when I say LeBron James or Shaquille O'Neal, I'm just throwing out somebody that everybody knows, and so it's not, they don't view that as, oh, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. But if he goes and likes Instagram model here, then you know what? I don't like that. I feel offended. I feel like he's being disrespectful. And all I'm just asking is, why is it not twofold?
Well, I think you're comparing apples to oranges in these two situations, and maybe
I probably am.
when I said Instagram models, and I don't mean the ones with, you know, like Tika Kamaj that has like millions and millions and millions of
Yeah.
followers. I don't mean her, or like a former Victoria's Secret angel. I mean, just the the
I know
the
what you're saying.
the self-appointed.
the ones that put in their bio public figure.
Yeah, and listen, there's nothing wrong with them. Do your thing, girl. I am not here hating on that at all. I'm just here to categorize the type of people that I think we're talking about.
Okay, so in conclusion, you feel like that is a huge red flag if a man is liking a lot of pictures of women who are hot/half naked.
Yeah, the half naked, I guess, is, take it or leave it. God, aren't we all half naked on Instagram? I've got tons of bikini pics on Instagram, so it is what it is. Like I said, no hate, but Yeah, but potentially, especially if you feel like you are in the context of going down kind of like that relationship street with someone, and they're the ones that are saying like, hey, we got a good thing going on. Maybe perhaps it should just be me and you. And then you're behaving this way on Instagram. And I know you said to your point that you should know how they behave on Instagram, but what if you don't, right?
Good point.
When you met, what if you did just start following them and you hadn't known them for a while? So I agree with you on that point. Like if you've known them for a while and they act like that, you know what you're signing up for. We talked about that the other day, and then that's on you and that's your choice.
Yeah.
So you go lay in that bed that you just made. So I don't know. It just still seems sketchy. I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, but that's also a hard conversation to have, I think.
Yeah, it really is.
In the beginning, because and then also we didn't talk about the other side though. Like you do not need to be tracking at girls. I'm gonna look directly in the camera here. Please stop tracking these men on Instagram. It is exhausting. It is time consuming. Take that time and energy and focus on being a better version of yourself. And you're probably going to attract a better guy that you don't need to track on Instagram. So please stop doing this. It's just that is not the way, because once you start doing it, it's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. Like I have, and I'm speaking because I have done it before, and trying to turn that off after you started doing it is almost impossible with that person. You need to start over.
Oh, well,
throw the whole entire man away, start over with a new one. And don't track his Instagram, because that is not the way, the truth, or the life. Please do not do that.
Okay. I feel like there's more of a story there, but no, don't worry. We'll get into that another day. We'll get into that another day, JK. So let's go ahead and now go to another topic about red flags. Huh?
Just trying to help the girls out.
We'll go into another topic about red flags / toxic / not a big deal.
Okay.
Ghosting. Is that toxic, or is that actually a backwards way of being polite?
It depends on at what stage of the relationship or non-relationship you are in. I think that after, if you've gone out with someone once and then they send you a follow-up text, ask you out again, is it a horrible toxic behavior if you don't respond? No, you don't really owe them anything. However, I think you and I talk to each other as a man and a woman in their mid to late 30s, which is, different than when we were younger, not as smart, educated, mature people.
Yeah.
in our previous lives. And we've all done it, but that never feels good, right? Think about, and here's maybe how you should look at it. The action or inaction I'm about to take, how does that make me feel inside? And I never feel good when I ignore someone, because I know how that feels when someone ignores me. And it's not that, while initially it can feel awkward to like receive a text like, hey, had a great time, but the feelings and the connection just wasn't there the way I needed to be there. Okay, cool, fine. Now I don't have to wonder. Now I don't have to whatever. I think that's a nice mature step, no matter whether you've gone out one time or 10 times. If you're not in a relationship, just say thanks, but no thanks in a polite way. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. To me, I think ghosting, whether it's man or woman, I think it's extremely toxic, because at the end of the day, the one thing that we still all want in life is respect.
Yeah.
From our boss, from our next door neighbor, from our family member, from whomever. I think that's something we all want. That's something that we all yearn for. And to me, whenever I hear of ghosting, I always think of somebody that's probably more of the sense of not used to confrontation. They're not used to having tough conversations. They're not used to being in awkward moments, awkward positions. So the easiest thing to do is go ahead and just ghost because they just simply don't want to be a part of that awkward setting. And you know what? I get that. And like what you just said, that's when you start to think about, okay, well, I don't like it when people ignore me. So that's where the empathy, I think, really should come in. And so I don't know how or why, but like, even like for me, I get so much anxiety if somebody sends me a text or an email and I don't respond to it. Like I feel so much anxiety just because I don't know, maybe that's just the way I was raised, maybe my generation, I don't know. So for me, no matter what, I'm gonna respond to you. It may not be what you want to hear. I may go and politely curve you or say I don't want to be a part of that business deal or that proposal or what have you, but I'm going to respond to you just because I don't want to leave you on red or seen or whatever, just because I know how that would feel to me and I don't want to be a part of that cycle where I'm emitting that type of energy into the atmosphere. So to me, in my opinion, any form of ghosting, I just think that, especially when you reach a certain age, like, man, like that way, the other party doesn't have to go wondering, okay, did they get the email? Did they get the text message? Did they get the DM? Like, they don't have to worry about all that. They know what it is. You responded, you respectfully declined, whether it's for a date, business deal, partnership, whatever, what have you. And so to me, that's something that I've always felt strongly about, just because those same people that ghost, there's no way they would want that done to them.
Mm-hmm.
So just off of that alone, just off of that logic, that should lead you to simply just doing the same thing. Because, like, come on now, if you don't want somebody to do that to you, like, just give them a thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, I will say though, I was going out with several guys this fall, and
Ooh.
I told we kind of talked about this on our first couple conversations.
Yeah, we did.
And we talked about the voice note breakup.
Oh,
there
man.
were some, right, but I had gone out with them a handful of times. But there were some that had only been like once or twice, and I did, the kind, polite, short texts breakup, like the thanks but no thanks. I'm not really interested. Happy to be friends. Are you open to that? And I got like some kind of nasty, might be a little dramatic, but like a couple not polite responses. I'm like, serious, would you have preferred that I just didn't respond to you? So that was also very interesting. And I think that initially, people can feel like rejected, but I was shocked at some of the responses that I got.
Care to share one of the responses that you got?
Maybe next week. I'd have to go search. It was a few months ago, so
oh man.
Maybe I'll come prepared next week with a couple of responses. But I was just like, wow, really? And I wrote like a pretty like thoughtful, friendly note, but yeah, it was sometimes not well received.
I get it. Trust me, we've all received an irate response on text message or email. So trust me, I get it.
Only validates the decision.
It really does.
Thank you. If I wasn't sure, now I am. So thank you for that.
All right. And I feel like this last one is really going to spark a debate.
Oh, well, we're not used to that. So
men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Can they be friends?
Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Have you seen When Harry Met Sally, the movie?
I have not seen the entire movie, but enough.
Okay. So Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, they meet in Chicago and drive to New York together after college. And Harry is Billy Crystal, and he says to Meg Ryan, he says, she says, let's just be friends. And he says, and women can't be friends. She goes, what do you mean men and women can't be friends? He was like, oh, we can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way. And she's like, what do you mean? I have tons of male friends who I'm not having sex with. He goes, you only think you're not having sex with them. She's like, what? You think I'm having sex with these men without my knowledge? He goes, no, but these men in their heads, like they think that they're having sex with you. They all want to have sex with you. He goes, no man can be friends with a woman who he thinks is attractive. And he goes, you are objectively attractive. Everyone wants to have sex with you. And she's like, well, what about with a woman that you're not attracted to? And he's like, you pretty much want to nail them too. And so that was the that was the end of the scene. It's really cute. You should watch it. I'll send you the link after we're done here.
All right.
But which goes, I think, to my point that, you know, men and women can be, I think, friends from the outside, but I think both perhaps have like different scenarios playing out in their head, and one thinks they're friends and the other one thinks they're not friends. And that usually is, you know, in the gender specific way. We just explained it. I have, and I probably sound just as naive as Meg Ryan does, I have tons of guy friends who I'm not having sex with.
Okay. And now
if I learn it, I don't know. But I think we're friends, and I have tons of guy friends, but I think there perhaps always could be some sort of a little flicker of attraction if there's chemistry, but it might be something that like you act on. I think in energy and a dim attraction doesn't evade friendship.
Yeah, I get it. So I'll ask you about all your guy friends. I'll ask you this. You hang out with them like at the bar, lounge, club, or concert, whatever?
Yeah.
So here we go. Your guy friends. If
when you smile because you're like, ooh, I'm about to like drop the bomb.
Hey, I'm just asking a question. Your guy friends. Let's say right now, we're about to go ahead, get off this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you text one of them, hey, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And say, want to come over. How many of your guy friends do you think would tell you no?
Well, no, okay, hold on. I think that first they would be like, what's wrong? Right? I have a lot of guy friends that would be like, I'm in bed. I got an early morning tomorrow. I got a lot to do. There better be something really wrong with you for
no, like you text them like in a way of like, hey, like want to come over? I want to hang out. Nothing's wrong. I just want to hang out.
I don't think so. I don't on a what is it, Tuesday?
Okay, let's hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
You texting this on a Friday night. It is, let's say, 12:30 a.m. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, just chilling with the boys. You want to come over? How many of those guys are telling you no?
I don't know, because I've never like done that or like been in that position or thought about it. So
all I'm
basically, it's hard for me to answer that question.
And all I'm basically saying is kind of like what you were saying with Harry, when Harry met Sally, if given the opportunity, a good amount of them would probably jump on it. Well, see, then there you go. You got to ask yourself, are we really friends, or are you just kind of waiting your turn? Are we really friends, or was there always an underlying objective there? And that's where it gets really intricate, and that's where it gets really interesting. So that's why I simply asked it in that manner, because in my opinion, a platonic, truly 100% platonic friend, whether it's male, female, whatever, they would probably say no, because they don't see you in that way. And I'm saying like this, me as a man, If I text a girl, hey, you want to come over? One of my homegirls, she'd be like, no, because she don't even see me in that way. So that's why I asked that question in that manner.
Yeah, but I think I already am breaking the friendship barrier by extending the invitation. So it's kind of like one of those which came first, the chicken or the egg
Mm-hmm.
kind of deals. So that's hard. Maybe they wouldn't even think about it until I was like, "Hey, come over."
Okay, I'll try this from another angle.
Okay. See, they're doing the smile thing again.
All right, so all of your guy friends, let's kind of like just throw them like in a pool or like in a box. So here we go. If you were to ask them, let's say like a, let's say kind of like a blind test. There's no way you'd ever find out the answer or who said it, anything like that. Do you feel that your guy friends, do you feel that all of them have 100% platonic feelings towards you?
Now you're making me like run through like the Rolodex of all of
Okay,
my
let's just, okay.
and filtering out for relationships and filtering out for like just like what is
Just
Stan,
off the top,
I got a lot of friends.
yeah, but I mean, I don't mean acquaintances. I don't mean people that you're cool with. I mean like people like the ones that you consider as like your friends. Like if you were right now about to, let's say, throw a birthday dinner, if you were about to have some sort of a celebratory type of soiree event, who are the first 10 guys that you would think to that, oh, I got to invite him?
Yeah.
That's what I'm. So those guys.
Yeah.
Your top 10, like, yeah, your top 10.
Um,
Do you think they have 100% platonic feelings towards you?
some yes, some no. There's one who I thought was 100% platonic and then turned out not to be. Now that I'm thinking about it. See, I told you I'm trying to index, right?
No,
I'm
so and
scrolling
you
through my text messages.
so now and that's why, like I said, I think that it's really a question that in many ways does not have like a true answer. It's really just kind of based on opinion. And
Yeah.
so that's why I think that it's always the type of question that will always spark debate because there's really no true way of finding out 100% like through and through how every friend situation is, every friend relationship. There really is no way. So it's really just opinion based. But I feel like we're both on the same page based off of what you said and I said.
Well, how do you feel about that with your girlfriends?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, it's your
No,
turn.
okay. Listen.
Give me in the hot seat.
I feel like if it's certain situations, I actually do feel like it's very, very possible. And I think that if you have a man and a woman, they're friends. They're both in happy relationships. I really truly think, yeah, they can be friends. Like they can be platonic friends. I think that you also have a very good chance of pulling that off when you have a situation where they both know enough about the other one where they're kind of turned off from the romantic opportunity or just the romantic fantasy. You see what I'm trying to say? So I think that there are certain situations where, yeah, I do believe, yeah, oh yeah, they could be platonic friends. Now, both single, both attractive, both good personalities, good energy. Sans one of them knowing enough about the other where they're turned off by it, that's going to be hard. I believe you always say that dog don't hunt for me. So I think that at the face value, I think that's very difficult. I think that if you go and in certain situations, I do believe it's very possible, but I think that it's unique and it's very nuanced as far as it being something that you're going to see a lot of, just because whether it's man or woman, there's always that underlying objective. There's always that underlying kind of feeling. And the thing is, for a lot of guys, that's almost kind of how they even that's how they kind of choose their homegirls.
What is?
I know you're gonna ask what is. So listen, I think that for certain men that I've been told this to, where they're friends with the girl because that's just kind of how it shook out. Like that wasn't their initial intention. That's just kind of how, the cards just played out. And so they went ahead and just basically just followed suit with it. So that's why that's something I've heard numerous times. And that's where when a female has a homeboy and she thinks of him as like her brother, her bestie, whatever, he's always looking out for her, always helpful, congenial, accommodating, everything. That's where the underlying objective always still lies, because even though he wanted you initially back in 2014, well, he more than likely is not going to stop wanting you now. Mm-hmm. Probably not. Now, he's learned to not think about it as much. Go ahead and just kind of file it in the, in the cabinet under never going to happen. But the urge, the desire, the want, the thought, that's never going to leave him.
Okay. So no. I think that's a really interesting point that you brought up. It's that friendship was never necessarily the original intention. That's just how it shook out.
Yeah.
Because the girl decided that there wasn't going to be a romantic progression, which is very interesting. I love that.
I feel like there's another thought that you have going on in your head to that.
No. Well, do girls with a lot of guy friends, is that just like a lot of like dead bodies that there's
What I mean, no, also listen.
Guys that like wanted to date them, but then they didn't get they struck out, but they still want to be on the practice squad. Like, is that what?
Oh my God, you just said practice squad. Oh my God. Oh wow. Oh my goodness. On the JV team, waiting to get called up to the varsity. I think that, also, somebody has a really good personality, great energy. They naturally are going to attract everybody. They're naturally going to attract, even just from a friendship type of vibe, because you're bubbly. Everybody wants to be around you. You're kind of like a breath of fresh air. So there's always going to be that aspect as well. But to your point, if you have a lot of friends from the opposite sex, I would venture to say that probably not all of them have purely platonic intentions for you. Maybe not all of them.
You're always talking about all your homegirls. You got lots of.
I have a few. I got a few. Now, do I know a lot of people? Yes, but I got a few. So. But also at the same time, like I said, I think that it's an interesting topic, because there really is no true one set way to get to the bottom of it and have a complete conclusion that it's not contradicted by any form of exception to the rules or anything like that. So I've always enjoyed talking about that.
Okay, so your general consensus: can men and women be friends? You are saying yes.
I'm saying yes, they can be, but not easily. Let's say that. Right. And you say?
I say yes. And one party is usually disillusioned.
So then there you go. Then they can't really be friends by what you just said.
Well,
because if one party is disillusioned, then they're not really friends beneath the surface. They are at face value
They are
on
on
the
one
surface.
side, maybe not on the other side.
So then that's not really friends.
Well, it's friends to the person who thinks it is.
Yes, but friends is a two-way street.
Okay.
So basically what you're saying is you don't think men and women can really be friends.
Well, friends is a non-romantic, non-sexual relationship.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're having a non-romantic, non-physical relationship with someone, I guess that's friends, no matter what one party wants or believes.
But what if one is having romantic fantasies about the other?
That's fine. You're not acting on it.
Okay. So then what's wrong with a man liking photos and
I know
following?
you're gonna bring this back around to us.
Like you just said, it's just fantasies. He's not acting on it, right?
Yes, there's taking an action.
By tapping,
he's buying the frosting.
but he's not mixing the batter or
Right.
producing the cake.
Right. It's a first step. There's lots of steps to baking a cake.
Exactly. And
I'm not saying it's cheating.
but you just said that there's nothing wrong with fantasies, mental fantasies, right?
Well, and number one, you can't control that one way or the other.
Exactly.
So we're always going to think about that, and I'm not saying that there's a problem with that. That's just being a human.
Mm-hmm.
But once you make like an action of that, and as it relates to the other person, that notifies the other person that you perhaps, so you are saying that, well, I'm having a fantasy about you, so I'm going to like your picture.
Okay. What if he just follows the girl and doesn't like her pictures?
I don't have a problem with that. If you're not actively engaging with them and you're just following them, okay. It's the active.
Good to know.
It's the I'm not, condoning that. I'm not saying, oh yeah, just go and like everybody, I guess. I mean, do what you want. And then that's for me to decide, is that something that I want in someone that I'm dating? That's just going to go follow hundreds of girls that he doesn't know. I think some is fine, but I think at a point it's weird.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll leave it right there for today because we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, but it's the active engagement. To clarify, it's the active engagement.
Okay, there you have it. It's the active engagement. That's what JK says. We're going to go ahead, sign off on this episode. We'll see you guys next week.